The September issue of Vogue is one of the most prominent fashion magazines in the world, and this year's issue puts an interesting focus on technology. Google Glass got 12 pages of the issue, from a model showing off a charcoaled version of the device to an editorial feature on the future of fashion. Another eye-catching photo is this one of Yahoo CEO Marissa Mayer. In an article titled "Hail to the Chief," Mayer is pictured in a fashion-forward pose, holding a tablet and touting a red lip. Mayer talks about everything from motherhood to what it takes to run Yahoo. The September issue of Vogue hits newsstands tomorrow, and this is a photo that everybody is talking about. Here to discuss more is Malik, the founder of GigaOm, who always has an opinion on all things tech. What do you think about this feature?
Which feature?
The photo.
Yeah, I think if their products were not, that bad, it would be nice to see this feature, but I think the company is not putting up, and it keeps talking about things, and there's a lot of attention and PR around Marissa, but their product lineup just kind of blows.
You think she shouldn't have taken this photo?
That's fine, but I think they need to match up, like the hype has to match up with the product and reality. The only thing which has gone right for this company is the stock price. So everybody, including the activist investors like Dan Loeb, are celebrating the stock price. The product-wise, the company hasn't done anything. It just is in the same place it was when she took over. She bought a bunch of companies, she brought in a lot of new people, but there is a little bit substandard culture still persists there. Like, things haven't really progressed. So, it's nice to have features in Vogue. Let's celebrate the success of the actual products and the actual company before, you start putting the hype ahead of.
From a leadership perspective, what do you think of the job Marissa has done so far?
What job? She's done a great job of boosting the stock price and giving people iPhones and maybe some nice coffee or a nicer coffee. But like, what job? Like, I haven't seen anything new they have come out which I want to use. In fact, Yahoo hasn't come out with any new product in the last 6 years which I want to use. They have done a good job of destroying value, like properties like Flickr. So if I sound a little harsh, because I've been using Yahoo from the day Larry and Dave started this company. So it's just, I have a historical perspective.
You think this manquisition thing is going to work out, buying all this talent?
It should. I mean, they're buying some decent people, and definitely people with clearer and fresher ideas. Now the thing is, what will happen next?
All right.
I'm still waiting.
So speaking of where Marissa came from, Google, there was a big outage which you wrote about last Friday. Something like 40% of internet traffic dropped off with just a small outage on Google.
Right.
Why did this happen?
We have no idea, and they don't want to talk about it.
It's interesting they haven't said why. They haven't come out and given a statement on it.
Well, that's Google, right? They're taking their cue from Apple and Amazon and everything else. Why not PR strategy? So, jokes aside, but I think they just had, there was some kind of a glitch, but the big lesson from this was how much we are reliable on Google. Like, Gmail, YouTube, and Google itself, like, were slowing down or were out, and you saw the decline in traffic. And it reminds you that the internet, which was supposed to be so resilient, is not. We get dependent on like 4 or 5 big properties which are like the holding glue of the internet. Like, Google is one, Facebook Connect is one. Things go wrong, everything starts to go wrong. Are
we too dependent on Google?
Absolutely.
What's the solution?
Well, that's the good question is, like, I think redundancy. People need to figure out, like, what happens if Google goes down. What is your plan B? It's the same thing we talk about when Amazon's cloud goes down. It's like, you can't really expect things to work perfectly, but you can't also plan for imperfect situations. So it's kind of a catch-22, but like, the bigger you become as a service, the more you have to worry about building some kind of backup. I
mean, is it about better competition like Bing, like Yahoo?
I think Google is doing a fairly good job of building great infrastructure. That's their strategic advantage. This was an outlier which happens. Just like Amazon's outages don't happen every day. They happen once every few months, once a year, but they happen. So if your business depends on these companies, You just need to be well prepared for that eventuality.
Now, before you go, I want to congratulate you. You are now, as of last week, an American citizen.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel?
Very
How's
American.
it been the last few days?
It's pretty much the same, but it feels like I belong. It's an undescribable feeling that you get this feeling of belonging, even though I've lived here for almost 22 years, and I wasn't going to go anywhere. But I just feel slightly different. I just feel like I'm from here.
This is, immigration is a very important issue to you and to the tech community. What's your take on the reform bill that's being debated in Congress right now? You've been critical of Mark Zuckerberg's take on this issue, but what do you think needs to change about immigration laws in the United States?
So I think there is the cause and effect is what we don't really talk about. We just talk about immigration as an isolated thing. We talk about illegal immigrants, and we talk about engineers, and we talk about these things in like just one, like in silos. But what it really is you can't associate immigration and what it means to the actual economic reality of this country. So I said this to you earlier, if you're going to have an immigration policy based on talent, you should have an education and re-education policy for people who are unemployed and people who do not have any new prospects. And today the New York Times is talking about, like almost 40 million people without having any internet access, and they are getting left behind. So the point is that what do we do? Do we build right policies? And the way I think this can be addressed is by taking the whole holistic approach to not just immigration, but re-education and re-employment of our current, user, like the citizenship. So I feel very strongly about that. That said, I was at that immigration ceremony, and there was like 1,226 very proud Americans there, and there were not a single engineer amongst them.